obviously Ralf Rangnick will be a genius. I think it's a work in progress. Did I see much change? Was it chalk and cheese to a Solskjaer or a Carrick side? No. Did they scrape the win? Yes. Was Palace poor? Absolutely. I don't think they played well at all, and I think Patrick Vieira will be telling us that. But they're capable of winning them games. They're going to get better. You're going to spend more time on a training field with them. I think it's a box ticked, definitely, because you need to get some confidence. You need to get the crowd on side. I think the pressing, I think we get overexcited with the high press. We hear this a lot now. It's determined on how high you have your centre-backs to close the distances up. And if you're a professional footballer, no matter if you're 46 or 36 like Ronaldo, if you close the distances up by meaning your defenders come up higher, the distances of your midfield and your forward players to close down the opposition is going to be tighter, and anyone is capable of doing that. He needs to work on that more. I think they were a little bit off the pace on their pressing. If Palace were any better, they would have popped it through them. But he needs to work and practice on these teams at the lower end of the division. So when they get to play against the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Chelseas of this world, the teams where they want to be up in and around, they'll be able to play that style rather than retreat back to the box again and start playing counter-attacking football. So, yeah, you'd have to say it was a positive. They've done the job today. On to the next.
Let's take a look at the first goal then of the Ralf Rangnick era, and it was scored in the 77th minute by Fred. Not the most likely of scorers, Owen, but what did you make of the finish?
Well, there's a lot of detail actually to this because, first of all, the finish is unbelievable, and Bruno had a little pop about Fred gets one a year. But look at the position of Dalot. Wan-Bissaka wouldn't be there. Good left-footed ball into Mason Greenwood. Look at the bodies United have. So because Dalot's high, that means Mason Greenwood could come inside. And Tim made a great point. Look at the weight of this pass for Fred. If he overhits that, he can't shoot. And just the pure options that United have with having an attacking fullback in Dalot, Mason Greenwood come closer to Ronaldo, Fred can squeeze in. So that in itself was a little bit different because when Wan-Bissaka plays there, he's not often in that position, which means Mason Greenwood's outside. And so I like the goal because I think it is a sign of a slight change in the way they're going to play.
Did you notice that change in the goal as well, Karen?
I noticed a lot of change. I mean, going back to the Watford result, it's night and day.
Yeah.
But I agree, condensing the pitch, bodies in the right area. I think changing the two fullbacks, like you said, really key. Just better quality in possession. The two fullbacks for Man United haven't been good enough for this period, but now they've come in technically good, crosses into the box, higher up, and you get the end result. It's just a case of now, if Crystal Palace had turned them and gone long and direct and opened the pitch up a little bit more, it would have been interesting to see how they cope with that. But for now, ticked, like you said, ticked so many boxes, and it's night and day from Watford to today.
Yeah, the result probably was the most important thing. Welcome back to Matchday Live. We've already had 3 games in the Premier League this Sunday. We've been watching and focusing on Manchester United, who beat Crystal Palace by 1-0 at Old Trafford in Ralf Rangnick's first game in the dugout there. And it's the start of what looks on paper like a relatively kind run of fixtures. These are the next 10 that Manchester United face. Owen Hargreaves, when you look at those fixtures, you've got to feel there's an opportunity for him to build some real momentum here.
Should do. Win. It should be 10 wins. I mean, let's
Does
be
that
honest.
with it, though, bring pressure, perhaps? The fact that he
No, that's why you play
to
for Man
win
United. You should beat these. Yeah. The reason you play for Manchester United is because it's when you play in the big games. That's what makes a top player. Anybody in the squad can play and they'll win those games. Anybody of the other players. The good thing is you got Varane to come back, you got Pogba to come back. If they start keeping clean sheets in these games, which they should do, they'll build some confidence, work on that press, get a little bit fitter, and they should be in a really, really good position. When you get to February 12th, they should be flying in full of confidence.
Today was big. We knew that the result was the most important thing, Karen, but particularly against Crystal Palace, in those kind of games where they've been expected to win, the pressure's been on them. In the past, they haven't been able to deliver all 3 points. So psychologically, will that be a boost as well?
Yeah, massive, the confidence. And maybe that's, you asked earlier about him saying go and enjoy themselves. And when you're under that pressure, you don't perform, you play stressed. And I think maybe he's taking that off them. And it was just a perfect way to get going, really. Crystal Palace were poor. I don't think they've been playing particularly well. But everything went super well. They would have liked more goals. But I think he's defensive-minded coach, and then to build on the attack. And they've got a clean sheet, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, it was their first clean sheet in 16 home games in all competitions. How big is that as well, Tim?
Well, it breeds confidence. I'm sure De Gea is happy with that. It's been like the Alamo, isn't it, over the last 3 games for him? You know, certainly the local derbies, you know, which were harmful, very emotional games against City and Liverpool. And then you go away at Watford and they almost turned up and expected to win, and they got shocked. You know, to concede that amount of goals, I'm sure that they got some solidity there. It always helps when the defenders are a bit further away from your goal and they're not defending the penalty area, because all it takes is a drop of a shoulder with a talented young player or any player in the Premier League, and they can score against you. So I think they defended okay today. I mean, Maguire was bad. It was a very good header when he cuts his eye. You know, I think it was an important time at 1-1. I mean, he's took a lot of criticism over the past few months, but I think he defended that very, very well. And Fred and Tomini, we always criticise them. I mean, everyone's criticised Fred. You know, no matter how long we sat here, people always find faults in his game. But every single manager that takes over at the football club always plays him. So he must be doing something right. He must be, I think he's a very responsible player. I think he gives everything. He never lets you down. He's no self-indulgence in him. I just think he plays for the team, and that is hence why he plays. When the manager takes over, they can trust him. And I think that they've got the 2 solid boys in there now. I think they can learn. I think McTominay can learn as well. I mean, in that position, I think he's capable. And they've got so many options. You know, so Cavani to come back in, Pogba to come back in, Varane. You know, for chasing that top 4 spot, there's not a squad in the Premier League more equipped to get there than Manchester United. With that run of fixtures, I think Man United fans have got every right to feel really optimistic about the future.
Yeah, that win taking Manchester United up to 6th in the Premier League table. Owen, he made some big calls in that second half as well, didn't he? Taking the likes of Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes off. Do you think that was just an opportunity for him to try and see different players, or was that a statement of intent?
No, I think it is to see the players. I mean, you know, Tim makes a point about Pogba coming back in. You know, if Pogba plays, say, instead of Fred and McTominay, and they're playing in one half, then you got another guy that can play a pass into Cristiano Ronaldo. So I thought they played okay, but Marcus was really quiet today. Bruno was pretty quiet today. The fullbacks were a big feature. And, you know, the squad depth is amazing. It's really, really good. So getting those guys, you know, Varane and Pogba into the side, United have easily one of the strongest teams in the Premier League, but they need to start playing like. And I thought today was a first decent step towards that.